Oh, Steve and Larson! Don't you dare be sour. Clap for yourselves and feel the power. Yes. And all you people out there, you're watching Going In Raw with Steve and Larson.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And the Enforcer.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Speaking of Larson, he ain't here. And so the dad's gone. So the kids are going to play and have a little house party here. Enforcer, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. I will say I am very happy to be here. One, because it's the Steves here, and second, it's not Raw. So I appreciate you I appreciate Larson taking a Prime Friday off. Yeah. Not choosing a jabroni Monday like some people I know to take a day off.
Well, you know, if I figure if I'm going to take a day off, I might as well make it the day of the week that I really want to take off, and it's Raw. I mean, I know Larson is probably just like me, and we're just trying to figure out, how could we get away with us not having to review Raw on a regular basis? Yeah. I know you already hold down a day job, and I wouldn't want to put you through that because I feel like that would fracture our friendship. But if I could just find some other jabronis that our audience would embrace Monday nights. I don't know if I could put the intern through that. He's already doing a lot for us. Yeah. He's already like, wait, it's funny when I ask the intern to do anything, when Larson and I ask him to do anything, he's already like, oh yeah, I already have that right here. I wrote all of it down. And I was like, whoa, we didn't even ask for that.
There you go, yeah.
He's doing a great job. We had a great job playing some Grand Theft Auto online today with some friendos.
I saw that, yeah. You were having trouble getting a dirt bike over a building.
I'm too old to be any good at anything anymore, and GTA is prime on that list. But the intern,
I keep cracking at it.
Yeah, the thing is, the intern always finds maps. Oh, I haven't tested them yet, and yet he still comes in first place every single time. I think he knows what he's doing more than he's letting on.
Of course.
But yeah, of course, that was today on Friendo Club TV. You can get access to that. You can become a member of Friendo Club TV by throwing us a sub on the Twitch or by joining us live on the Twitch. Maybe somebody will gift you a sub.
Absolutely.
Also, by clicking join on YouTube and becoming a YouTube channel member, $5 a month. Or by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/Stephen Larson at the $5 a month. It's a Friendo Club TV tier. You can check that out there. And, of course, check us out Sunday, The Enforcer, myself, and Larson for Elimination Chamber. Our live reactions on YouTube afterwards.
Yep.
We'll head over to the Twitch for our recap.
Our predictions are up as well. Mine are in the description of Steven Larson's video, so go and check them out. Check out this idiot trying to buck the trend of I don't think I'm going to hit anything here, but I'm having fun with it regardless.
I love that. Here's a little spoiler for you. You put the most confidence points on a match that probably, given that one of the participants is pregnant, won't happen. But we just assume you mean Asuka's going to have a match and she's going to win.
Yes. As you can see here, and if you're on your phone, I apologize. As you can see here, it's not a wrestler named TBD. It's to be determined.
Yeah.
So that's a placeholder, baby. Yeah. So there it is. Is Roy's? Is it Rhea? Who knows?
You're going to be going for this trios title that currently is in my possession, but it technically belongs to Larson because he won it last time.
Closest I'm ever going to get to it.
There you go. There. There's $1. Oh. Anyways, Smackdown, we had the go-home show for Elimination Chamber tonight. Again, man, I say this every week about Smackdown. Smackdown is a ton of fun. It's a great way to. I mean, I couldn't imagine if Raw was the last thing we had to do every single week. Smackdown was a lot of fun. No real clear idea, even watching this. Who's coming out of the chamber on the SmackDown side of things. There was a main event match which really, I mean, if Larson was here, he would probably say that because Daniel Bryan won the match tonight, the main event tonight, that precludes him from winning at the Chamber. I don't know what the math is on that, but I suspect he might have a point if that was going to be his take. Sometime I think he said that kind of thing, those kind of things before.
I was also wondering about, or worried about my pick Cesaro, because he was clearing house for a while. He was there getting beat up, and then he did a couple swings, made himself look good. So now I'm glad he did not get the pin, because that would have completely written him off. But I think they talked too glowingly about him, so I feel my pick is gonna be garbage on that, but I hope not.
Here's the thing about Cesaro also that I think that I'm happy that I didn't pick Cesaro for the Elimination Chamber win, is that Seth Rollins talked a lot about Cesaro tonight. So it kind of feels like something's going to happen with Seth and Cesaro, which kind of in my mind precludes him from having unless they think that propelling Cesaro into a feud with Seth would be helped by him winning at the Chamber and having a really good showing against Roman. That's a possibility as well. What I'm really hoping for is before the Chamber happens, Seth Rollins takes out Cesaro so that I know that, and they say, they announced it before the match, Cesaro's out. And I'll pretty much be guaranteed this, the big red title, all that.
Everything's coming. Well, it's not even coming back home. It's already there, even though it ain't yours.
It's already here, but in the metaphorical sense.
Yes, of course.
We'll just go ahead and start this thing, because otherwise,
let's get after it, man.
There was just a lot of good stuff. There wasn't any big revelations here. Kicked off with an Edge promo. He comes out, says, "I've got decisions to make." He runs down his decisions. I don't even know if he mentioned Finn, but he mentioned Drew. He mentioned Roman. He says, a lot of people talk about, he says, Drew McIntyre is going to be defending his title at Elimination Chamber. He said, me being the ultimate opportunist, I understand that Roman has made the smart play here. He says, he's going to wait it out for all these other guys to beat themselves up. He has an easy path to keep his spot in the main event of WrestleMania. And he says, between all these participants, I've got like 13 people to choose from. That brings out Roman Reigns. He says, hey, hold on a second. You don't have 13. You have one. You can either choose from a bunch of main eventers or the main event. So there's a sort of battle between the two of them. And it's actually pretty legit when you think about it. Is Roman Reigns the main event of WrestleMania? Or is Ed? Because historically, just because you win the Rumble, like, I think it's more oftentimes than not that you're not actually literally in the main event of WrestleMania.
No.
So
usually you're not. Yeah. Well, especially they would always say that you would be, but just because the fact that they have two winners of the Rumble, one of them is not going to be the main event. But I get what they mean. Like, you get yourself a big main event slot there. But yeah, I mean, he makes a lot of sense there, saying, is Edge truly the main event? And then, that's why you need me to pick you, Roman, because you need to be that main event because your ego has gotten out of control.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. But I know you're going to talk about this one point when Sammy comes out. That stare they had with each other as Sammy's just running each other. I absolutely loved that.
It was a great moment. So, Roman says you can choose from a bunch of main eventers or the main event. Edge says, you know what, man, last week you lost your cool. That's because you realized you need me to be in the main event. If AJ wins, guess what? Edge versus AJ is going to be the main event. If anybody else wins, and I choose them, that's going to be the main event of WrestleMania, not Roman Reigns. He says, you know what? I see that you are in your prime. You're a generational talent. I respect you. I respect your family, but you're cracking under the pressure of everything that you have on your shoulders. I haven't even applied pressure to you yet. Do you want me to expose the dents in your armor yet? And then he says, why don't you answer me on that one? And as soon as he gives Roman a chance to speak, like you said, Sami Zayn comes out. And he says, it's one thing to be disrespected by management, but being disrespected by the two of the biggest stars ever, Edge, you act like it's a foregone conclusion that Roman's going to win. And Roman, you act like it's a foregone conclusion that you're going to leave Elimination Chamber with the title. Management didn't want me in this match, but I plowed my way in, which makes me the biggest threat. I should worry both of you. And he says, I want my moment. He's getting really obnoxious now. He says, I want my moment. He said, here, this camera right here, come over here. Wait, no, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Bring my guys over here. So they have a WWE camera behind his guys.
Yeah.
And he says, get the iconic picture of me. Get the iconic picture of Sammy pointing at the Mania sign. And as soon as he does, I think Jey Uso with the face turn here just super kicks the crap out of him. The crowd would have popped huge for that, by the way.
He was at that point. I was already like, all right, Sammy, I'm already over you at this point. You're doing what you need to do. You're supposed to be obnoxious, but man, Jay just laying them out and just continuing on with what they were doing was beautiful. I absolutely love that. And the fact that as Sami Zayn was saying everything that you just said, Edge and Roman never acknowledged Sammy. They just kept their eyes on each other as this was going. I think just one time Edge sort of glanced over at Sammy, but Roman never looked at Sammy one damn time. That was beautiful.
I get the feeling it was probably Paul Heyman's direction because it really was like sort of staged like a play. These two guys are not, they understand. They know exactly what's happening here, and they probably both know that they are Roman probably knows that Edge is playing mind games with him and that he's already made up his mind.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know that. And Edge has probably already made up his mind, but he wants to mess with Roman, and he knows it's going to be Roman. So he's playing mind games. That's what Edge does.
Mind games, yeah.
So, at that point, they have this really cool moment where Roman hands the mic to Paul.
Yeah.
He hands the title to Paul, and Edge starts unzipping his sleeves because he thinks he's going to need to throw down.
Yep.
Roman puts his hands up, and he puts them behind his back, and he walks very slowly to Edge. And he gets into Edge's ear and he says, for Larson. No, he says, we don't know what he says. Larson family. Larson's on vacation tonight.
Yeah, it's like, hail Larson.
Right. So we don't know what Roman said. What's your speculation? Jokes aside, what do you think Roman said to Edge?
He probably said, you need this. He said, you need me as much as I need you. That's the actual moment there.
Exactly right, yeah.
And it's amazing how all these times you've had these press conferences, no microphone, signings, all of this. This is the one time the microphone can't pick up what they say. Yeah. I did like it, but I do like that speculation. What exactly did they say? I don't think they touched on it later on when Heyman and Edge were sitting there for the main event on commentary, but I would really love to know. As a matter of fact, if you're watching this over at the YouTube, get in the comments section. Go down there. Let us know. What do you think Roman said to Edge that he whispered into his ear? Jokes or real ones, please. I look forward to seeing what you guys got to say.
You're a better YouTuber than I am because that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
I learned it by watching you.
I like this. Dang MQ says Roman tells Edge, "You think you know me?
You think you know me?" Yeah. And good. I see Hip Hop Hippo says, "Drink more Ovaltine," which is a delightful drink. If you guys are sleeping on Ovaltine, more Ovaltine, please, indeed.
Why don't they call it Roundtine? I like your idea there. I think you're absolutely right. Probably something along the lines of, hey, we both know that we need this. This, it can't be any other way. It has to be this. So after that, we move along with Big E setting up ringside with a couch, a pedicure station.
He had a mini fridge, a Salisbury steak, a
Hungry Man meal,
a Hungry Man, and a foot spa. That looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it did. I got to get one of those foot spas, man.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I got to get it for the summertime because Larson can attest to this. I wear flip flops a lot. And my feet just get disgusting.
I have issues with that because I used to have one back in the day, and me not thinking, the old enforcer back in the day wasn't clicking on all cylinders, not realizing these things aren't made for my big ass size 15 feet, so they wouldn't work for me. So they were complete. Hi, buddy. And you're gonna get it?
We got some buddy butthole.
little slice
terms
of that.
of service. There you go.
Terms of service violation there. But yeah, I would love to have that. I mean, I'm not opposed to having a Salisbury steak back in the lean times. So absolutely, man.
Back in the lean days, in the bologna sandwich days,
the bologna sandwich and ramen.
Right, exactly. Oh, I get a treat tonight.
Oh,
Hungry
boy,
man meal.
They're on sale. Oh man, 2 for $4, baby.
So I really like what they've been doing with Apollo Crews lately. He, by the way, shout out. Last night I enjoyed a Twitch stream from Big Williamsms, who was showing like some Uha Nation Apollo Crews matches, and from like Dragon Gate and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. So go follow Big Williamsms over there on Twitch. It was a lot of fun. So Apollo has an interview, a gorilla position before his match with Shinsuke Nakamura. And Kayla asks, have your aspirations for winning the Intercontinental Championship affected your friendship with Big E? And he says, I've always respected Big E. I've considered him a friend. And he was always the one who told me you have to go out and grab your opportunities. But then I do that last week, and now he tells me to go back to catering, that my opportunities are gone. He says, my ancestors are Nigerian royalty. If he had said that to them, he'd lose his tongue. It was it was an awesome little interview.
It was a great one. Yeah. Just the cadence that Apollo had. He said, that Big E doesn't respect me. Big E is intimidated by me. And then that's why he wants me to go back to the end of the line to go to catering, because he knows what's going to happen, that I'm capable of taking that belt off of him, of beating him. And then Nakamura was already, I think he was came out already. He's going to fight Nakamura. Great match there. And I just want to point out one nice spot in there. I know that you're probably going to go beat by beat here, but one beautiful spot that Nakamura had when he did that slide out to the outside of the ring, and then at the same time he sort of grabbed him to get a suplex up off him. That was liquid smooth and beautiful move, man. Nakamura, I swear, you forget because you see him, you take him for granted, but man, New Japan, NXT, Nakamura, mwah, beautiful man.
I love too that Big E really put over Nakamura. He's like, why? And because Big E was on commentary. Yeah. And they kept on trying to prod Big E into talking about Apollo Crews, and he kept on insisting, look, let's stop talking. I beat him 3 times in a matter of 6 weeks. It's time to stop. Excuse me. It's time to stop talking about Apollo Crews. A legend is in the ring, Shinsuke Nakamura. Why aren't you talking about him? The match happens. It's a good match. What exactly, because I sort of turned my head, was it a roll-up finish? What was the actual finish of this? It was a surprise finish.
Let me see. He loses to an armbar pin. He got him in armbar maneuver and then hooked the leg into a 1-2-3. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought it was, something like that. Sort of came out of nowhere. He wins, and immediately, like Apollo was fine, he gets up and he immediately attacks Shinsuke. Takes him outside, throws him around ringside, picks up the steps, and Big E then gets in his way and is like, hey, no, you need to walk away. Put those steps down. You need to walk away. Go away. So Big E turns, and Apollo sort of agrees. He's like, okay, he puts down the steps. Big E turns to go check on Nakamura, and Apollo picks the steps back up and just destroys Big E's back. Wails
him on. Yeah.
So he gets he leans over and he starts talking crap to Big E.
Yeah, big time. I actually like that one part where he was talking crap to him, but Big E still, even though he was out, tried to grab at his neck, and he said, "Man, get your hands up off me."
I love that. It's just that extra level of mean right there,
dude. Yeah, and then that was beautiful. And then Apollo Crews rolls Big E back into the ring, and then and I believe he throws the steps in there. Got it over his head. The referee says, "No, put those down." Put those down. Big E at this time rolls back out to the ring, and then he says, so you want me?" Apollo goes, "Oh, so you want me to put these down, huh? You want me to put these down?" Walks over to where Big E is, boom, drops it right on him. You don't see it, but it's inferred or intended that he dropped those on Big E, and then he just saunters on out of there, and then they have to cart Big E out of there, and with the stretcher going on, and I don't know if that's sort of to give Big E some time. I don't know if he's really injured or not, or this is a storyline or anything, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna be out for a little bit of time, right?
You would think they'd write him off for at least the week, or at least next week. I loved this because you would think that the way WWE does, sometimes they can be clever with how they block scenes. And when I say block, I mean, how they shoot them, where the camera is, what it catches. And this is one of those moments where it's so much better to have this left to the imagination and have him go. And they don't cut to Big E when the steps fall. And because you don't think he's going to do it. And he's like, fine, I'll do it. And he just drops it. And you hear a big clunk. And it's funny because they sort of, you see them fall like behind the apron, but they sort of bounce back up. So Big E was probably there like with his feet ready to go or something like that to sort of kick him back up to make it seem like, yeah, it did hit something. But it was such a wonderfully shot moment that had so much more impact than if you were to show the cheesy ring steps hit Big E like on the shoulder or something. And then them really selling it with the stretcher, I thought was really well done. They could have. And also we got ourselves a raid, Rocketed Net. Thank you so much for raiding with your party. Thank you, Rocketed Net. Thank you.
Yeah. We are reviewing SmackDown right now. And it was, it would have been so much worse if you would have actually seen those steps hit Big E. Would have been like, really, they're carting this guy out for this. But because it's left to your imagination, you hear the big thud, you sort of believe it a little bit more. And I mean, I really like this mean streak that Apollo Crews has been getting here the last few weeks. I've always loved Apollo. I thought he got called up too soon to NXT. He could have used a little bit more time, a little bit more seasoning, but I'm glad. Better late than never, I assume. Hopefully this does lead to something where, maybe circles back around to he gets in the fold with Roman and Jay. Hopefully. I hope they touch on that subject later down on the road. Absolutely.
I mean, you can maybe kind of infer that between Paul Heyman really talking up Apollo and giving him some advice on talking smack, which is always a good venue for that stuff. And then that one scene where he's with Roman, you can infer that, okay, he's got some lessons here. He understands what he has to do now. I love Apollo every time they have given him opportunity to shine, he does. And then as soon as they do, and the people who really pay attention to him understand this, every time he shines and every single time they do, they're always afraid to pull the trigger on something to the next level with him. And I hope that this means that they're going to go to the next level with him as a heel, because I think obvious, as we've seen tonight, he could be a scary dude.
Absolutely. I've always hated the start and stop of him. Then they'll throw him in the 24/7 for a bit. Out he goes. He comes back. He's smiling baby face again. It's a complete reset again, back to what it was. I really hope we get a little bit of progression with Apollo, and now they've really laid the foundation, because if you really want to make somebody a heel, somebody like Big, even though he was putting down Apollo, and you feel Apollo could be justified in attacking Big E for being run down the way that Big E did. Still, Big E is considered a face. You bash him the way they do, you could easily position this guy as a heel and a threat, legitimate for the IC title. Absolutely.
Well, that's another thing that I like about this feud, is that it's so simple. You know, it's carried exclusively by the moments the performers are given and their performance in those moments. But this is nothing new. It's, hey, I am persistent. I want another shot at your title. That's been done before. But it's rare that, that the performers really, really embrace it, because you're right. Apollo has the way Big E talks to him so dismissively, and a guy that everybody loves, Big E, when he gets serious and is dismissive of somebody, it's like extra, it stings more, because it's like your dad doing that.
And then he's like crapping on you in front of your friends. So that makes it like even worse. But even worse. It's really one of those things where it's like Big E, normally the babyface champion would take on all comers. You want a shot at it, even if you just had one. Hey, I respect you enough. I'm gonna give you another shot. I like the little wrinkle that they have. It's like he's the face, but he says, "No, I've given you chance after chance. Get the hell to the back of the line here."
Yeah.
You know, the guy's like, "No, I'm not taking that. I'm gonna take what's mine. I'm gonna take what I feel is my play. I know I can beat you. I know I can get you. I know I can get that belt." And he's finally gone to a means to go, okay, that's it. Now you're seeing me pissed off now. Now I'm about to take what I want.
So they stretcher out Big E from commercial. He's sort of by the stage at that point. They're wheeling him out. And as Seth Rollins comes out, he sort of looks back at Big E and what's happened to him. He's got another great suit on, by the way. It's not leather this time. But
you mean Seth? You didn't say who came out. Seth.
I say Seth. Yeah, sorry. Seth Rollins comes out. He's got a great looking suit.
He did.
And it's not all leather, but it's still looking pretty good. And he looks at Big E and he says, "You know what I'm seeing there? That's a tragedy.
Tragedy.
Being betrayed by friends is a tragedy. Last week on SmackDown, I was betrayed by all my friends here on SmackDown in the roster. So Big E, I understand. I feel your pain. I know what just happened to you. Let's roll the footage." So they do a recap of what happened last week on SmackDown. And he said, "That right there is emotional trauma. I'm still suffering. So myself and my lawyers have drafted a formal complaint. Legal action is pending because HR needs to know this is not a healthy place to work." He says months went into planning my return here to SmackDown, but it was ruined by a bunch of losers. They ruined it and cowards because they're afraid. They want to divide us. They're afraid because there are millions who have embraced the vision. And he says the biggest loser out there of them all is Cesaro. He took our moment, our homecoming, and made it about him. He disrespected us, patronized us, stayed behind just to look me in the eyes and disrespect me. What happened to him? He asked for it. It's not on my hands. That's what's going to happen to everyone who follows in his footsteps. Embrace the vision. What the hell is the vision? Is this a takeoff conspiracy theory stuff, dude? Is he a new QAnon guy? Is that what's going on here?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Was he wanted, like, because he kept on saying, you know, that line of embrace the vision, and he was having that cadence. Was that supposed to be like a spin on like Stop the Steal or something like that?
Yeah, I get in the lawyers.
Lawyers,
that kind of stuff.
Pending action here, you know, that ruined by losers and cowards. I feel disrespected. Yeah, all this other stuff. I know it's a leap, but obviously, you know.
Well, I don't know that it like. Okay, so before I even mentioned the Q thing, Lionheart here in chat said. Stevens J said, "I can't believe he had a promo saying we live in a society." Or is he just talking about the Joker Jared Leto thing? Or did Seth say that? If Seth said that, that'd be hilarious.
He had a promo saying we live in a society. Yeah. That was something. Yeah. And then I think at the end he ended it with thank you and good night as well. I believe that's how he ended that thing. And he just kept on with that thing, embrace the vision, saying like, millions have already embraced
millions. Yeah.
You know, it's, I
don't know. Like Lionheart here in chat said the same thing as Seth the Q guy mixed with Jared Leto and where is it? Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty good. I don't think that we're the only people to have caught on to that. Yeah. They need to be they need to be kind of careful with that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. But I will say, like, I know we said it earlier, but as soon as he opened his mouth and he said Cesaro, my heart sank for my pick, because I knew that was instead there was going to be a swerve where if the best I could hope for is that Cesaro would somehow get into the ring and then lose on his own accord. The worst thing is what you said there, Steve. He gets attacked before it ever gets in there.
I don't know, man. I kind of feel like my other assertion, which I don't want to have happen because I didn't pick it, is that to get to Seth, you got to lose to Roman. That's a possibility to win the chamber because Seth is like one step down from Roman.
Yeah.
If they do Seth versus Cesaro, if that's going to be an actual thing, I don't know. I do not know.
That's kind of why I said Cesaro, if he wins it, he's just going to get destroyed by Roman, and then that protects Cesaro because he went through Elimination Chamber. eats it to Roman, and then he still looks like the strong face that had something go right for him, but because of the circumstances, he wasn't able to win the belt.
Yeah. After that, we had Riott Squad versus Natalya and Tamina. Riott Squad really need to put together some wins. I feel like they really never win.
They never do, and it seems like a mishmash team of Tamina and Natalya should have no business, no matter how big or how much of a veteran or their legacy that they have in the sport from that they have growing up in here. They should not be anywhere near losing or beating a actual tag team of the Riott Squad.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like throwing together teams. So, but this is more stuff for Billie Kay to work with mid-match. Billie Kay comes down, but she's got, instead of Riott Squad gear, she's got some cat ears like Natalya, and she's wearing a Tamina t-shirt. Tamina ends up hitting Ruby with her finisher and a pin for 3. And then immediately Billie comes in, starts running around Natalya, and Tamina gets between them, holds her hands high, but there is no ambiguity here. They want nothing to do with her. Tamina drops her with a super kick. So Billie Kay, at some point, I like when these things, I love Billie Kay. I need these things to move along, like to keep going a little bit. I think that'd be nice.
Do you have any idea what the end game is with Billie Kay right now, or they don't even have an idea for it? They're just doing it week by week.
I think they're doing it week to week. I don't know. She'll probably have a silly spot if they do like a women's rumble at Mania. If they do that this year, I don't know. They're gonna do that. But I think she's great. I do think that I really like the week after week thing, her bringing out new tag team partners, and then they just stopped that after Natalya and Tamina. Yeah. And they did the whole Riott Squad thing. I really like that she kept on trying to get in. You could have had the opportunity to bring some new people in, or some people that haven't been featured yet. But SmackDown generally does a pretty good job with their women's division. So
yeah, absolutely.
So anyways,
got a power chat here. I don't know if you want to hit that now or not.
We skip those for the actual podcast.
Got you. Okay. And then after that, personally for me, what I loved, a Daytona 500 recap. Sasha Banks being the starter for that, out there looking like $1 million, waving that flag the way that it needs to be. Unfortunately, she only got to see 14 laps before the skies opened up. I know she wasn't sticking around after 6 hours for the end of it, but nice to see her. Nice cross promotion there, and a lot of NASCAR hype in the corner that they were doing. So I, as a guy that loves NASCAR and racing, that always made me feel happy. So
do you have a specific team, racer, or car that you like? Who do you cheer for? Racers, right?
Yeah, well, my main guy was Earnhardt until he passed away, and for about a year I didn't have anybody, and then I latched on to Tony Stewart because he reminded me of him. He is a car owner that's got 4 cars out there, so I don't necessarily root for one guy in particular. I will root for his cars and whoever may be in it, but also I just want to see a good race.
You just like seeing cars going in circles.
And every once in a while they turn right as well. Every once in a while, there's a couple of times. Like this weekend, they're going to turn right.
Oh,
the road course at Daytona, because they can't race at the one at Fontana because this state isn't allowing anything to happen. So
yeah. So anyways, backstage, Baron Corbin and Edge. Hey,
I love this.
He says, "Hey, Edge, you feel this energy, right? You feel this?
Yeah,
it's like the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Let me give you advice. The next time you see someone walk up with a $10,000 suit," and he's like wearing his merch shirt under like a cheesy Sears blazer,
got that shit at Ross,
and he's like, and a $39,000 timepiece. Now, given that Baron Corbin's a guy who on the reels collects like human heads and skulls and stuff, it wouldn't shock me if he was so bored he'd spend that much money on a watch. I'm not a watch connoisseur. I do not know if the specific watch indeed does cost $40,000. But he said, when you see somebody pulls up with a $10,000 suit and a $39,000 timepiece, you bow down. And Edge says, "Oh man, you want to see my timepiece? It's pretty cool." And he's like, "Look, see, it says 822 on it. It's great, and it even takes pictures. You know, it's all this fancy technology stuff."
Yeah. Then he says, "Look into it." That was great.
He said, "Look into it."
He said, "Yeah, you should look into it."
Yeah, that was a good little moment there, because I feel like Edge is so like serious all the time. It's always like, you know, he shows up backstage and it's like, and scene, and then they do their little scene where somebody's like, "Oh yeah, what a good point." I like when he injects some comedy. I always like comedy Edge too.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I don't know how many people have watched that the show that Reeks of Awesomeness or whatever, but that is a great sketch show that him and Christian put together. I absolutely love that one. Yeah.
Ding Dong Hello was next. I love this stuff. I love this stuff. Oh, you weren't into this? I love this.
I was into the fact that Bayley kept on telling people to use the door. Use the door, and nobody would do it. The whole bit where the two people trying to go through the door at the same time, I'm like,
that was good. Oh, come on, that was good. It's classic comedy. It's great.
It's classic comedy, but with those two that were doing it, I kind of want to have them be a bit more serious, even though she said her hole, my hole, and all this shit. But honestly, man, like it was so convoluted to get to a trios match.
Yeah,
I was just like, man, okay, this is how we're gonna get to it, huh? And then Reggie decides to show. I'm confused with that homie. Like, why the hell did he come out there, man?
You know what is really rough? I love this stuff. I like Reginald. I think he's hilarious.
Okay.
What's really rough though is that I don't know. Look, I have no idea. We referenced it today on News Brief. There was a report out there. It was Ringside News, so I guess you sort of take it with a grain of salt, that Vince might not be too high on Keith Lee. I also read a thing that maybe Keith Lee is suffering from some sort of injury, which is like keeping him from being advertised for Elimination Chamber. I know. As soon as I saw your pick for that match, I was like, "Oh, he needs to watch our show more often." So anyways, I'm like, dude, how is it Vince McMahon is so much more into Reginald than he is like Aleister Black. Aleister Black gets no screen time, but Reginald gets tons every week.
He had multiple. I mean, he was in a talking segment. He was in a match, and then he was in a backstage. Like you could put 6 months of Aleister Black. He wouldn't have 3 segments. Oh my goodness, man.
I know. Anyways, Ding Dong Hello. She says this is the second episode. Or for people like Michael Cole, don't speak Spanish, this is the dose episode of Ding Dong Hello, which is totally the inappropriate way to say it. It's like saying this is the 2 episode. So her guests are Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. They come to the door, and like you mentioned, they do and they look so reluctant to even use the door, but they understand this is part of the thing, so they open it up, and they try to go in at the same time twice, and then Nia just shoves Shayna. They both go through, and I like stuff like this because Shayna is so serious all the time. To watch her have to deal with the ludicrous is hilarious to me. I love her reactions because they put her character in such an uncomfortable position that it makes me laugh.
But yet when they did it on NXT, where you had Dakota Kai and Gonzalez there, and you had MSK in the back eating the popcorn, that resonated so much more to me. I watched that because I watched both at the same time. I watched that over the Young Bucks match. I watched that promo instead of that. I was more enthralled with that. And it was still Shayna and it was still Nia, and they just seemed to be more legit there. Where here, it just seemed just like it was just a joke. It was all just a joke. But I will give Bayley props the way she looked with those glasses. I absolutely love that. Yeah, that was great. And
insisting everybody use the door. You just hear her from off camera. Use the door. Anyways, Nia and Shayna come down. They run down. They start running down Sasha and Bianca for a while. They're interrupted by Reginald. He takes offense at them running down Sasha. Obviously, over the past couple of weeks and months, he's taken a liking to Sasha. He says she is bold and timeless, like some fancy wine.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Nia
some
and
sort of
Shayna are like some, and Larson would know what this is, but I'm not a wine connoisseur. He says they're like some sort of boxed wine, weak and disposable. So Nia gets pissed at this, gets in his face and says, "Is that a challenge?" And Reginald says, "If Sasha decided to team with Bianca, you two will be former champions." So that brings Sasha down. She tells Reginald not to speak for her. Sasha says, "Bianca is obviously going to face me at Mania because this women's division runs through me. It revolves around me." Bianca comes down, says, "Sasha, you first." Me winning the Rumble, says the EST is the star of this decision of this division. People don't revolve around me. They get beat by me. Reginald gets between them, says, "Hey, come on, we're all on the same team here. We shouldn't be fighting each other. How about the three of us take on the three of you?" I thought I was laughing my ass off. I was like, I really didn't expect this to turn into a 6-man match.
I really did not. That's what I was like, okay, what is this going to? And then when it went to that, I'm like, really? Is this really what we got? But I did like Reginald didn't get very physical with anybody. Took more of the
they don't cross the line.
Stuff.
They don't cross a certain, like there's no striking from him or anything like that.
No, but it was he did have some cool moments. Like he did that flip where he came in when Bianca and Sasha were clearing house, looking for high fives and stuff like that. But I mean, I know now later on what that led to in terms of setting pace for the women's title match at Elimination Chamber. But while it was going on, I'm like, this is weird and convoluted to me,
Yeah, I liked so the match basically revolved around Nia Jax and Reginald, them getting really into it. There was some really great trash talk from Nia, saying, referencing the box wine that he had talked about. And so, he's trying some different acrobatic moves with her and she's sort of not having it. But in the end, he goes for like the spinning, jumping, flying kick thing. He's caught by Nia, but then Nia is drop kicked by both Sasha and Bianca, which makes Reginald land on her, pinning her for a 3 count. So they win, and then it's announced that Sasha and Bianca, like you said, will be challenging Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the tag titles. I would imagine that match is going to solidify perhaps Bianca taking on Sasha at WrestleMania, although there's still Fastlane in the meantime. I assume Carmella will maybe have something to do with this at Fastlane because they set something up a little bit later with her. Before then, though, we had a Cesaro interview, and he basically says, Seth thinks I was patronizing him. I was out there paying respect to him, hoping for Seth to come back the way we know Seth can be. We hoped for the old Seth, not the arrogant SOB that we saw. He says, but enough of Seth. I need to keep my momentum going, winning the Chamber, beating Roman, going on to WrestleMania. And Edge comes in, and he says, you know what? You've got grit. Be nice if we saw each other at WrestleMania. So there you go. You had a ghost. You had a ghost back there.
I know. Yeah. That's a ghost back there. Yeah.
After that, we had. This was curious. We had a heel turn basically. Rey Mysterio and Dom come down to fight the Alpha Academy. We have Bob Roode and Dolph Ziggler on commentary. They have solo cups to show that, and this is a great little touch because it's like. The Street Profits weren't on the show tonight, but you keep them in mind by using their solo cups with the tag team champions.
Right.
But this is happening in the meantime. So we've got 2 other tag teams that are on the radar, Alpha Academy, Otis and Gable, and Rey and Dom. So at one point during the match, did I get this right? Otis slams Rey. He does a press on Rey.
Yeah.
And then Gable gets in, and he starts like basically coaching up Otis.
Yeah, while he was in the ring there, yeah.
And so the ref called it a DQ because Gable wouldn't leave because that's what happened. It was
that's what I assumed. Like it really, like I heard a bell and I was like, what is going on here? And the only thing that I could have assumed and I guess put the pieces together was that because Gable did not respect the referee's count to get out of the ring, she threw it out, but he just was there just constantly coaching him, come on, this is my guy, you're my number one guy.
And
I kept hearing him say that over and over.
And he was goading him into giving him a second splash, which he did off the ropes. And then even after the bell rang, Gable didn't bat an eye. He brought Rey. He was like, "Oh, this guy's one of the best ever. Here, let's show him how great he is." And he brings him over to the corner so that Otis can then do a third splash from like the top rope or second rope or something like that.
It was the second rope.
The second rope.
Second rope.
And so, the commentary is really putting over, hey, what's gotten into Otis? This is not something that we're used to seeing from him. Him sort of having no cares about, intentionally hurting somebody else, even after the match is over with. Okay, Lionheart says commentary says it was Otis's fault because they were confused too. They seemed really confused as well, which I think might have been kind of the point. Yeah.
Now, so did Otis now turn heel?
That's what commentary really wanted to push. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it seemed like when Gable was leading him out or saying, okay, we're done here. I don't know if I got a moment here where he seemed like Otis kind of like shook his head and like he sort of snapped out of it for a second. Like, I don't know if they're laying this foundation where Gable is in the heat of the battle, in the heat of the moment, goading him. But then once he sort of simmers down the Alpha Academy stuff, I don't know if he's sort of brainwashing him. And then he's sort of snapping back out of it when everything sort of cooled down. I don't know if that's where they're going or if I misinterpret it. Who knows? But I will be on the lookout for that next time I do see Otis.
I mean,
people out there.
I didn't notice that, but it wouldn't shock me if that was the case because clearly this is gonna be an Otis versus Gable thing where Gable turns into the dark side and then Otis snaps out of it. So it could totally mean that's that could be the case. After that, we have Daniel Bryan backstage. They showed Rey like really nursing his ribs. Hopefully next week he'll have some FPOS tape on.
Some FPOS tape, absolutely.
We have Daniel Bryan backstage. Edge rolls by and he says, man, I was inspired by your comeback. It really showed me that I need to fight for my dreams as well. And here we are. Bryan says, well, if you really want to find a way to express your gratitude, if I win at the Chamber, choose me at Mania. Edge says, some would consider that a dream match, and Bryan says some might call it long overdue, which I agree with. I think it'd be great.
Absolutely. I would absolutely love that one. Yeah.
So after that, we've got, again, backstage, Bryan and Cesaro before their main event match. Kevin Owens, their partner for the night, shows up. He's like, hey, you guys want to talk strategy, and they instantly just turned to clowning him.
Dude. That's what I wrote too.
Relentlessly clowning him for all the turns that he's had. They bring up Sami Zayn multiple times. Yeah. They bring up Big E or the New Day.
Kofi, where he was the standee for Big E.
And then there was the best one, of course, and everybody referenced this. They said, Daniel Bryan says, I feel like there's a big name we're missing out right now, but I really should have made a list. Which is a great shot at Jericho there.
That was great.
Or a shout out to Jericho, I should say. So Kevin Owens says, you know what, guy? He takes it in good humor. Says, you don't have to worry about stunners tonight. We're a team. I want to win this match. He says, but that's tonight. On Sunday, you might have to worry about a stunner or two or three. And Cesaro said, well, at least he's honest. And Bryan said, is he though? So after that, we have this little bit where Reginald goes to Carmella with her wine. She says, hey, where have you been? And he says some business about I had to make sure it was the perfect temperature. Yeah. She yells at him and says, you're really going to say this? I saw you out there. I know what was going on. And she says, relax, though. I'm not mad. I know in the end you're going to do the right thing because if you don't, she's threatening him, insinuating that something bad's going to happen. And then she drinks the wine he gave her and spits it out, throws it back, or throws it in his face, rather, and yells at him because apparently it sucks. So he has to go get new wine. So I don't know what she's up to. She's probably going to be the one. Maybe she'll interfere in this match coming up at Elimination Chamber. Maybe that'll motivate her and Bianca getting into a thing before Mania. Carmella still wants to get into the mix here for this Sasha's title here. So we'll see how that
she said out. A couple of times to Reginald that I know that you'll do the right thing. I know that you'll do the right thing. So I'm not entirely sure what exactly she means by that. If she knows what his idea is, but wants to sort of be far away, not know the beat by beat of it. I'm not entirely sure, but I would like to see. I mean, like, I like Carmella as a character.
Yeah.
So anytime that she is out there, I will appreciate it. But would like to see, especially going into WrestleMania, what the story is for her. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then we had, so then it was announced that the Chamber of the Women's Tag titles were on the line.
Yeah.
And then we had our main event, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, and Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin, and Jey Uso. Edge was on commentary, as was Paul Heyman, so they went back and forth a lot. Yep. There was a great bit, you mentioned this earlier, that Cesaro did the big swing on Sami, and then he got right into one with Corbin. Corbin's like too big. He swung him like twice and then just collapsed.
And just collapsed in the corner, then they went to break.
Yeah, they go to break. Yeah, great commercial cliffhanger there.
Yeah, it was great.
It was fun stuff.
And then they come back and he's like in like he must have like caught his second win there, because when they came back from commercial, he was swinging the hell out of him for about 3 or 4 times, and then he finally put him down. So but yeah, swinging a guy like Corbin's got to be so difficult. He's long and lanky, man.
Yeah,
so, absolutely.
Yeah. So after the finish saw Daniel Bryan lay out Sami Zayn. He tapped him out. So it was a really good match. After the match, everyone starts hitting moves on each other, which then ended with Edge hitting a spear on Jey Uso. He left commentary and hit a spear on Jey Uso, and then Roman showed up and he speared Edge and stood tall with the title in hand. And that was your SmackDown. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. I'll bring up the Patreon thread.
While you do that, there was one beautiful move that I saw that Daniel Bryan got on Sami, the double underhook top rope suplex into the yes lock. Yeah, was velvety smooth and beautiful. That was an amazing move, transition into a finish. So props to Bryan. I mean, the guy is amazing.
I'm very glad that Daniel Bryan's talents are on SmackDown, not going to waste on Raw.
You got that right.
Let's see here. James Fletcher. What would you take from SmackDown to make Raw better and from Raw to make SmackDown better? Okay, so let's take the time difference out of it, because I think that'd make a huge difference.
Of course.
Paul Heyman's influence, probably. Some of the stuff on like the Apollo, I have no idea if it's the case, but some of the stuff from Apollo Crews and Big E wouldn't shock me if I found out that Paul Heyman was giving them suggestions here or there. Some of it really feels like that. Whenever they drop the mic and have the characters just speak to each other like the way Big E did, but the way they did at the contract signing with Roman. I think if some of that stuff just feels like it might be Paul Heyman or whoever's suggestion it is, it's a good one. They don't use that level of subtlety on Raw, and I think it could really use that.
I really feel that that SmackDown really, once again, taking the time away from it, it seems like there are more beats that they try to hit on a week-to-week basis to advance story.
That's true
where
as well.
Raw really feels like, and as we've heard reports, everything is just sort of slapped together at the last minute. Almost feels like they're writing it as the show is going on. I would actually like to go, okay, we have this time to figure it out. Whatever we figured it out, we go with it, and then give people the scripts and the beats and the story so that they don't feel so robotic and like reading a sheet of paper. I would actually like to have some structure to Raw that seems to be on SmackDown.
We don't need Matt Riddle and Lucha House Party teaming up how many times every freaking like every week it's Matt Riddle and Lucha House Party.
It just seems like you missed a Raw and you missed absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
you absolutely, and you probably came back to it better off for it. And you know, I don't want to crap on Raw because it's the easy thing to do. It's the easy thing to kick when the thing's down. But man, it's like I know it's not your flagship anymore, but it's still 3 hours of your programming that you have had the longest stay with. You got to pay some attention to it and not just have it an afterthought.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Says White Brownie here, with the current IC storyline, is it possible we're getting a triple threat at Fastlane? So maybe what Shinsuke, Apollo, and Big E?
I think that's probably more of a SmackDown main event, but I don't know, because I don't know what's going to happen at Fastlane. I mean, that's a possibility. They should have the IC title on at Fastlane. They absolutely should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
David Matushek, after seeing Apollo's mean streak, what other wrestlers do you want to see show this kind of behavior? Who's a face? Keith Lee. Keith Lee. I mean, I know it's over on Raw, but I'd say Keith Lee. I'd like to see him have more edge to him, be just a straight up bad guy, you know?
Yeah, more edge. How about Edge have more edge?
Edge does need more edge. I actually agree with that.
Yeah. Edge actually needs more edge. Absolutely. That's what I would say. I mean, it was nice to like that edge when they were staring each other, him and Roman staring at each other, staring daggers and holes through each other. Little more of that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I would love that. Here's a nice fun one for you to work on here, and you and me both, from Fear and Loathing. What would Vince sound like if he was doing a Twitch stream and got a raid?
What?
Yeah.
What's this? I didn't say you could raid me. What is this? I raid you.
Well, what is this shit?
What is this shit? And then he blows his quads.
Yeah, he blows his quads sitting there
playing Call of Duty. Warzone. It's my Warzone.
Yeah, it's I own it.
Blake Whitehouse, why do you think WWE insists on having talk show segments? It's a tradition that goes back ages and ages and ages, and it advances stories. I mean, at worst, it's like Miz TV where nothing happens, but at best, it's like tonight where an amazing 6-man match is set up and perfectly executed. Enforcer.
Yeah, that's you. Yeah, well, see, yeah, I mean, it's either it seems like Backstage is not in-person story progression or blow-offs to other stories after a pay-per-view, and then in-ring is the actual, because usually in-ring leads to an in-ring confrontation, usually in tag team form. That's really what the whole in-ring talk show segments for is, because usually when someone comes out in their gear, they're about to have a match. Exactly. Damn well but I do appreciate like how Bayley was just in her civilian attire and she had to flip off her shoes and now all of a sudden she's in a match. I did appreciate that though.
Shout out to Ricky Scurvy for sending me just a god-awful Larson family design again here in my DMs of all places. So stay out of that, please. Dirty Rich the Smash Bro, he had a power chat earlier.
Yeah.
Said he's going to have to catch the replay when uploaded. He said he's getting his hair cut, so that's cool. No, wait, just helped cut and style my girlfriend's hair. That poor lady. He does have a question here on Patreon, though, and Dirty Rich says, will Ruby and Liv ever be taken seriously? Dude, I hope they do have. They've got a really good women's tag team division right now. Like they actually have some pretty good players there, and the Riott Squad are great. Like some of the stuff Liv Morgan does is really fun. Ruby Riott's a terrific wrestler. Absolutely, they need to give him. It's like every team is supposed to have the one thing that they do better than everybody else. And their thing needs to be like either tandem offense, because they have some of that. Liv Morgan has some really interesting moves, but they can't compete with the power people. They can't compete with the athleticism. They can't compete with anybody. They don't give them that one strength that they have over everybody else, which any successful tag team needs.
The one thing that they have is that they've been together so long that they should be a cohesive unit. Yeah. And it's much like when you watch Shotzi and Ember Moon, how they've already got tandem tag team maneuvers already looking so fluid, so good. If you could sort of impart that sort of like knowing where the other person is for hot tags, working with each other, just the quick in and outs, and then doing that, they could go a long way. They could just be that fundamentally sound. Yeah. They already got a look. They got an amazing look. You just got to, like you said, give them something. You can't give them power. You can't give them strength. They've got look. Cohesiveness is what you can give them. Absolutely. Folsom Joe gifting a sub to Infamous. Thank you so much, Folsom Joe. Appreciate that.
Ethan Smith says, is having Shayna and Nia focus on 3 different possible opponents from different brands at once too much, or is this how they should be using their cross-brand titles? This is 100% how you should use a cross-brand title. Absolutely. I popped so hard when I saw them on NXT. I think I know some people don't like Nia Jax. That's fine. I'm a big, when they have her do moves outside of what she is comfortable doing and it looks ugly, I'm not a fan of that. But I'm a fan of the character and I'm a fan of the team big time. I'm a big time fan of the team. I really am.
Absolutely. Medusa Rocks rated us with a party of 19.
Medusa. What's up, Medusa?
Medusa, absolutely. Hello. And Yoshibol here has got a question. If Edge beats Roman, does he become the edge of the table?
Well, that's the hardest part of the table, isn't it?
That's the hardest part of the table.
That's the most dangerous part of the table. You got to baby-proof that. Isn't it crazy? On Twitch, we have a legend in Medusa rating us.
There you go.
On our
I love your monster truckness, man. I love it. It's like right here, man. I'm down with it.
You've got the monster truck stuff going. That's going to do it for us here for the podcast. Twitch, stick around. We're going to answer some more of your questions. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steven Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steven Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steven Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson.